My brother's daughter cut open my son's trampoline safety net on purpose. All 10 families left. When I asked why, she grinned. Dad promised me a new iPad if I did it. My son cried beside his torn birthday banner. My brother rolled his eyes. Weak kids deserve broken parties. I stayed calm, took my son home, and opened the party video. By morning, my brother was at my door begging. The scissors went through the nylon netting in one long cut, from the bottom seam to the zipper track, and the whole safety enclosure sagged inward like a sail losing wind. 12 children were on the trampoline. My son was one of them. He was in the center, mid-bounce, both feet off the mat, arms out, laughing the way 7-year-olds laugh when they are about to turn 8, and the entire world is a backyard full of friends and cake and a trampoline their father saved 4 months to buy. The nets separated along the cut line, and the tension gave way on the left side. 2 kids stumbled toward the gap. A mother screamed. 3 fathers moved at once. Nobody fell off. Nobody was hurt. But the panic was instant and total. I was behind my camera on the tripod near the deck when it happened. I am a commercial photographer. Weddings, corporate events, family sessions. I had set up 2 cameras for Ezra's 8th birthday party, the way I set up for any job. 1 wide angle on the tripod covering the yard. 1 handheld that I carried. Both recording. Both time-stamped. I was shooting the trampoline from the deck rail, catching the motion, the color, the afternoon light through the maple leaves, when the net collapsed and parents started pulling kids off the mat. I dropped the handheld camera onto the deck table and ran to the trampoline. Darcy was already there. My wife is an elementary school PE teacher. She moves faster than I do in situations involving children, gravity, and potential injury. She had Ezra off the mat and on the grass in 4 seconds. He was not hurt. He was terrified. His face was white, and his hands were gripping Darcy's shirt so hard the fabric stretched at the collar. 10 families. That is how many were at the party. 10 families with children between 6 and 9 years old. Within 3 minutes of the net collapsing, 8 of those families were packing cooler bags and buckets of sidewalk chalk and heading for their cars. By the 5-minute mark, all 10 were gone. Miles, my neighbor, was the last to leave. His son Theo is Ezra's best friend. Miles looked at me from his truck window and said, "I will call you tonight." His face said everything his mouth did not. Ezra was sitting on the grass beside the back fence, where the birthday banner we had painted together was hanging from 2 clothespins. Blue poster board. Gold paint. Happy 8th birthday, Ezra. He wrote his own name on it the week before, in the garage, kneeling on a drop cloth with a brush too big for his hand, and he did it without wobbling the letters for the first time. He was so proud of those letters that he asked me to photograph them before we hung the banner. I did. I still have that photo. The banner had come loose on one side during the chaos when a parent bumped the fence pulling her daughter toward the gate. It was dragging on the ground. A muddy boot print ran across Ezra's name in gold paint. Ezra was sitting next to it. Not crying loudly, crying the way children cry when they do not understand what happened, but they know the day is over, and it was supposed to be theirs. That was when I saw Lily. My niece was standing by the sliding glass door, holding a pair of orange-handled fabric scissors from my wife's craft bin. She was 10 years old. She was not crying. She was not scared. She was watching the empty yard with an expression I had seen on her father's face 100 times. The expression of someone who had done exactly what they intended to do and was waiting to see what happened next. "Lily," I said, "did you cut the net?" She looked at me. She did not look away. She did not drop the scissors. She grinned. "Dad promised me a new iPad if I did it." She said it the way a child reports a transaction. Matter of fact. No guilt. She had completed a task, and she expected to be paid. Conrad was on the deck. My brother. 37 years old. He was leaning against the railing with a beer in his hand, watching me the way a man watches a game he has already won. He did not look at Lily. He did not look at Ezra. He looked at me. "Your son cannot handle a torn net without crying." He is 8 years old. 8. When I was 8, I broke my arm falling out of a tree and I walked home. Your kid falls apart because a trampoline has a rip in it. That is your fault, Rowan. You and Darcy raise him like he is made of glass. You photograph other people's happy moments for a living because you cannot build your own. Weak kids deserve broken parties. He said it loudly enough for Darcy to hear from the grass, loudly enough for Miles to hear from his truck, loudly enough for Lily to hear from the sliding glass door, still holding the scissors she had used to cut the safety net on my son's birthday trampoline because her father promised her $499 worth of screen. I did not yell. I wanted to. The anger was in my chest and my jaw and the backs of my hands, and it took every year of professional composure I have built behind a camera lens to hold it in place. Clients have screamed at me at weddings. Mothers have cried. Fathers have threatened. I have learned to hold still, hold the shot, and deal with the aftermath when the room is empty. I walked to Ezra. I knelt on the grass beside him. I picked up the banner, folded it carefully so the muddy boot print was inside the fold, and tucked it under my arm. I took Ezra's hand. He held on tight. We are going home, I said to Darcy. We left the backyard. We left the trampoline with the sagging net, the folding tables with uneaten cake, the stack of presents Ezra never opened, and the camera on the tripod still recording. I did not turn it off. I forgot. That camera recorded the next 40 minutes of my empty backyard, Conrad finishing his beer on the deck, and Lily eating a slice of cake at the table alone. If you have ever watched your child's face break and known who broke it, hit subscribe to Family Secret Tales. Let me tell you about the trampoline. I bought it in May. A 14-foot Skywalker with an enclosure net rated for 250 pounds. $849 plus a $60 delivery fee, plus $47 in anchor stakes, because the ground in our backyard sloped slightly toward the fence and I was not going to let that thing shift in a storm. I assembled it over 2 weekends in June while Ezra sat on the deck steps and handed me bolts from a plastic cup. The net attached to 12 curved poles with elastic straps, and each strap had a carabiner clip at the top. I tested every clip twice. Ezra is not an outgoing kid. He does not make friends easily. He is quiet in groups and loud at home, the way some children are. And his world is small, but carefully chosen. Theo from next door. 2 kids from his 2nd grade class. His stuffed fox, named Captain. And the trampoline. The trampoline changed him. He bounced every evening after dinner, sometimes alone, sometimes with Theo, and the rhythm of it settled something inside him that I had been trying to reach for years. He stopped biting his nails. He started sleeping through the night. He asked to have a birthday party for the first time. For the first time. Ezra had never wanted a birthday party. Every year Darcy and I offered, and every year he shook his head and asked for cake at home with just us. This year the trampoline gave him confidence. He wanted friends over. He wanted to bounce with them. He wanted the banner. We painted it together on a Wednesday evening in the garage. I mixed the blue, and Ezra picked the gold for the letters. He knelt on the drop cloth with a brush that was too wide for the strokes he was making, and he painted EZRA in capital letters without a single wobble. He looked up at me with paint on his knuckles and said, "It is straight." "It is straight," I said. Darcy stood in the doorway watching, and she mouthed something to me that Ezra could not see. She mouthed "thank you," and her eyes were wet, and I understood what she meant. This was the first time our son had wanted something with other people in it. The trampoline gave him that. The banner was proof. I almost did not invite Conrad. I was standing at the kitchen counter, writing the text invitations on the Wednesday before the party, and when I got to my brother's name, my thumb hovered over the keyboard for 10 seconds. I had a feeling, not evidence, not logic, a feeling in my stomach that I could not name and could not justify. But he was family. Lily was Ezra's cousin. I sent the text. That was the mistake. Let me tell you about Conrad, because the trampoline did not happen in a vacuum. Conrad is 4 years older than me, Growing up, he was the one who got the bigger bedroom, the first car, the later curfew. My parents loved us equally, I believe that, but Conrad was louder, and louder children get more oxygen. When I started doing photography in high school, Conrad called it a hobby. When I opened my studio at 26, he called it a gamble. When I booked my first wedding at $2,000, he said, "People pay you that much to push a button?" He has never been to my studio. He has never asked to see my portfolio. He has never once said the word photographer without making it sound like hobbyist. Conrad owns a business called Conrad's Party Rentals. He rents bounce houses, inflatable slides, cotton candy machines, popcorn carts, and party tents for children's events across 3 counties. His revenue runs about $65,000 a year, spring through fall. His entire income depends on parents trusting him with their children's parties. I shot all of his promotional photographs for free, every single one. The website banner image of a bounce house at sunset with the light hitting the vinyl just right, that is my photo. The Facebook gallery of kids in inflatable obstacle courses, my photos. The flyer that hangs in the school front office and 3 pediatric dentist waiting rooms, my layout, my images, my design. 3 years of work, dozens of sessions, hundreds of images. He never offered to pay. He never offered trade. He never said thank you. He said, "You were there anyway. It is not like it cost you anything." My time, my equipment, my eye, my edit. Those cost something. I billed other clients $150 an hour for the same work I did for Conrad for $0. Darcy told me to stop. Miles told me to stop. I did not stop because he was my brother, and because stopping felt like admitting the relationship was transactional, and I did not want it to be transactional. I wanted it to be family. But Conrad's version of family has always been a one-way current. He borrows and does not return. He takes and does not acknowledge. When our parents visit from Grand Rapids, Conrad complains that they spend more time with Ezra than with Lily. He does not consider that Ezra is quieter and needs the attention differently, or that Lily is a confident, social 10-year-old who runs every room she enters and does not need her grandparents to sit on the floor and play quietly with her the way Ezra does. Conrad does not see need. He sees scorekeeping. 3 weeks before the party, Conrad called me. Not to ask about Ezra's birthday, to ask me to shoot a promotional video for a new inflatable water slide he had just purchased for the business. Free, of course. I need it by Friday, he said. 15-second reel for Instagram. Vertical. Can you do the slow motion thing you did last time? I am setting up for Ezra's party this weekend, I said. I am not available. It is a 15-second video, Rowan. You can do it in your sleep. I am not available. He paused. Then, sometimes I think you care more about that kid's trampoline than you do about helping your own brother. I let the sentence hang. I did not respond. He hung up. The party was on a Saturday. September 1st, 78 degrees. Cloudless, the kind of day that exists specifically for backyards and birthdays. Darcy and I set up the yard starting at 8 a.m., folding tables covered in blue tablecloths, paper plates with stars on them, a helium tank for balloons that Ezra helped me fill, holding each one by the neck while I tied the ribbon. The cake was a sheet cake from the bakery on Grand River with a trampoline made of frosting on top. $42. Ezra asked for chocolate with vanilla frosting, and the woman behind the counter asked what he wanted written on it, and he said, very quietly, "Just my name is fine." She wrote Ezra in blue script across the top, and he looked at it the way he looks at everything he is proud of, but afraid to say so. The banner went up on the back fence at 9:30. 2 clothespins and a piece of twine. The gold letters caught the morning sun, and Ezra stood on the deck looking at them with his hands in his pockets, rocking on his heels, and he said, "People are going to see it." "People are going to see it," I said. The first family arrived at 11, then 3 more, then the rest. 10 families, 23 children between the ages of 6 and 9. The yard was full. The noise was enormous. Ezra stood on the edge of it for the first 5 minutes, watching, breathing. his hand touching the seam of his shorts the way he does when he is deciding whether to enter a room. Miles brought Theo over from next door. Theo walked straight to Ezra and said, "Your banner is cool. Did you paint that?" Ezra nodded. "The letters are really straight," Theo said. "Can we go on the trampoline now?" Ezra looked at me. I nodded. Theo grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the trampoline, and Ezra climbed in. And after the first bounce he was laughing, and after the third bounce he was shouting, and after 10 minutes he was leading a game he made up on the spot, involving counting to 7 and falling down on purpose. The other kids followed his rules without arguing. He was the birthday boy. He was the authority on how to fall down on a trampoline, and no one questioned it. I had never seen him like that. Not in 2 years of school. Not at Theo's birthday. Not at the community pool or the library reading hour, or any of the places Darcy and I had gently steered him toward since he was 5. This was different. This was his yard, his trampoline, his game, his banner on the fence. Darcy was standing beside me on the deck. She put her hand on my arm and squeezed. "Look at him," she said. "I see him. He asked 3 kids their names. 3, he has never done that, I know. If we do nothing else right, Rowan, we did this right." I picked up my handheld camera and shot a close-up of Ezra's face mid-bounce. Eyes closed. Mouth open. Arms wide. The kind of photograph that does not need a caption. Conrad arrived at noon. Late, no apology, no gift. He had Lily with him. Vivian had dropped them off and gone to run errands. Conrad walked into the backyard, looked at the trampoline full of jumping children, looked at the banner, looked at the cake, and said to me, "You went all out for a backyard party. What did this cost you?" "It cost me what it cost me," I said. He shrugged and went to the cooler for a beer. His first. It was 12:05. Lily joined the trampoline group for about 20 minutes. She was older than most of the kids and bigger, and she bounced hard enough that the smaller children had to hold the net to keep their balance. Darcy asked her to ease up. Lily looked at Conrad on the deck. He was on his phone. He did not react. Lily slowed down for 2 minutes and then went inside the house. I thought she went to the bathroom. She went to the craft bin. At 3:47 p.m., the footage shows Lily walking from the sliding glass door to the trampoline. The evening of the party, after I brought Ezra home and put him in front of a movie with Captain the Fox tucked under his arm and a bowl of cereal he did not eat. I went to my office. The tripod camera's SD card was in my hand. I inserted it into the reader and opened the footage. The wide angle caught everything. The recording started at 1:15 p.m., 45 minutes before the first guests arrived, and ran continuously until I pulled the card at 6:30 p.m. The frame covered the trampoline, the deck, the back fence, the sliding glass door, and half of the food table. The audio was clean. At 3:47 p.m., the footage shows Lily walking from the sliding glass door to the trampoline with the orange-handled fabric scissors in her right hand. She walks slowly. She does not look around. She reaches the net on the far side, away from the deck, and starts cutting from the bottom seam upward. The cut takes 11 seconds. The net sags. Children stumble. Parents scream. At 3:48 p.m., the footage shows Conrad on the deck. He does not move. He does not shout. He does not run toward the trampoline. He watches. He lifts his beer and drinks. At 3:51 p.m., the footage captures Conrad's voice, clear and loud. "Weak kids deserve broken parties." At 3:52 p.m., the footage shows Ezra sitting beside the fallen banner, crying silently, while I kneel next to him and fold the banner against my chest. I watched the footage 3 times. The third time, I paused on the frame where Conrad nodded. His chin dipped maybe 2 inches. It lasted less than a second. A 10-year-old girl looked at her father for approval after cutting a safety net with 12 children inside it, and her father. Standing 15 feet away on the deck with a beer in his hand, nodded. I saved the video in 3 locations. The original SD card, locked in my office drawer. A copy on my external hard drive. A third copy uploaded to cloud storage with a date-stamped link. That is how I back up client work. This was not client work. This was evidence. I called Miles at 9:30 p.m. I saw her do it, Miles said. His voice was tight. I was 10 feet away at the drink table. I saw her walking with the scissors and I started moving, but she was faster. She cut the net and looked at her dad on the deck. She looked at him the way a kid looks at a parent after a school play, like she was asking, "Did I do it right?" And he nodded. Rowan, he nodded at her. I have it on video. Both cameras? The tripod caught everything. The angle, the timing, the nod, the audio. All of it. Miles exhaled. Theo has not stopped asking about Ezra. He wants to know if the party is going to happen again. Tell Theo that Ezra is all right, and tell him the trampoline will have a new net by next weekend. What about Conrad? Conrad is going to find out what happens when a man who rents bounce houses to children destroys a child's birthday party on camera. Miles was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Good. Because if you were not going to do something, I was going to. I have it handled. I know you do. That is why I called you first instead of driving to his house. I did not post the video that night. I waited." Darcy came into my office at midnight. She had been in bed, but had not slept. She sat on the arm of my desk chair and looked at the paused video on my screen. The frame was frozen on Conrad's nod. "Ezra asked me something before bed," she said. "What?" "He asked me if the party was his fault, if he did something wrong that made everyone leave." I closed the laptop. I did not need to see the video again that night. "He did nothing wrong," I said. "I know, but he does not know that yet. And he will not know it until the people who did this are held accountable, where he can see the difference between what they did and what he is." That is who Darcy is. She does not ask for revenge. She asks for accountability, and she expects it to be visible enough that a 7-year-old can understand it. The next morning, Sunday, Vivian dropped Lily off at our house at 9 a.m. Vivian is Conrad's wife, 35, a dental hygienist, a woman who apologizes on behalf of her husband so often that the words have worn grooves in her voice. She stood on my porch and said she was sorry about the party and that Lily wanted to apologize to Ezra. She did not know the full story. She thought the net tore accidentally and Lily happened to be near it. Darcy brought Lily inside. Lily apologized to Ezra in the living room. It was stiff and rehearsed, the kind of apology a 10-year-old gives when she has been told what to say. Ezra nodded and went back to the couch with Captain. While Lily was inside, she pulled the iPad from her backpack to show Ezra a game. The Apple Store receipt slipped from inside the case and landed face up on the living room floor. Darcy picked it up, dated August 30th, 2 days before the party. One iPad, 10th generation, 64 gigabyte, space gray, $499, purchased by Conrad Hale. He bought it before the party. He planned it. That evening, I sent the video to Vivian. No message, no explanation. Just the video file, time-stamped, unedited. 3 minutes and 47 seconds of her husband's plan unfolding frame by frame. Vivian called me 20 minutes later. She was not speaking clearly. She had been crying. She asked me one question. "Is this real?" "It is real," I said. "Every frame." He told me the net was old. He told me it tore on its own and that the parents overreacted. He told me Lily had nothing to do with it. He bought her an iPad 2 days before the party. The receipt was in her backpack. Vivian was silent for a long time. I could hear her breathing through the phone, shallow and uneven. "He used my daughter," she said. Not a question. A statement. The kind of statement that changes everything that comes after it. She hung up. 11 minutes later, she called back. Her voice was steadier now. Colder, she had checked Lily's iPad. In the Messages app, from Conrad's phone to Lily's iPad, sent at 6:14 p.m. on the day of the party, "Good job today. You earned it." He congratulated her, Vivian said, like she passed a test. She screenshotted the message and sent it to me before Conrad could delete it. He congratulated his daughter for destroying his nephew's birthday. Lily did something dangerous. Conrad made it possible, rewarded it, and taught her to call cruelty a job well done. If you want to see what made Conrad show up at my door begging, drop a like. This is Family Secret Tales. I did not post the raw footage. Falk helped me cut a version that blurred every child's face, removed the names of other families, and kept only the sequence that showed Lily approaching the net, Conrad watching from the deck, and Conrad's words on audio. I also filed a police report for property damage and reckless conduct. Falk said the report would likely not lead to charges, but it made the record real. And the record was what mattered. At 5 a.m. Monday, I wrote the community post. 3 paragraphs. Factual, no insults. No emotion, no, all caps. What happened at the party, what the edited video shows, and a note that Ezra was safe but shaken and the party costs were unrecoverable. I attached the blurred video, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I scheduled the post for 7 a.m. At 7:01 a.m., the post went live on the Livingston County Families Facebook group. 4,200 members. By 8 a.m., it had 96 views. By noon, 600. By 3 p.m., 41 shares and 218 comments. Several parents tagged friends. 3 people who had booked with Conrad's party rentals commented publicly that they were reconsidering. One mother wrote, "This man rents bounce houses to children and he did this to a child's birthday?" That comment had 67 reactions by evening. Darcy did not share the post. Another parent on the board saw it independently and forwarded it to the committee. By 8:50 on Monday, before the post had even peaked, Conrad was at my front door. He was wearing yesterday's clothes. His eyes were red. He had not slept. Vivian had shown him the video at 11 p.m. the night before, and according to what Vivian later told Darcy, the conversation that followed lasted until 4 a.m. and ended with Vivian packing a bag for herself and Lily and driving to her mother's house. Conrad knocked. I opened the door. He had the demand letter from Falk in his hand, the one I had sent by email at 6 a.m. with a copy by certified mail. $1,200 for replacement equipment and a safety inspection, plus $340 in unrecoverable party costs, the cake, the decorations, the helium tank, and the tablecloths. "Take the video down," Conrad said. "Please, Rowan, take it down. I will pay for the trampoline. I will pay for the party. I will apologize to Ezra in person. Whatever you need, just take the video down." I did not respond. I set my laptop on the porch table, opened the video file, and pressed play. Full screen. The video ran. Conrad watched himself lean against the deck railing while his daughter walked toward the trampoline with scissors. He watched himself lift his beer and drink while children stumbled and parents screamed. He watched himself say weak kids deserve broken parties, while Ezra cried beside a banner with a muddy boot print across his name. He watched himself nod at Lily when she looked up at him from the torn net. His face changed at the nod. That was the moment he realized the camera had caught the one gesture he thought no one saw. His hand went to his mouth. His knees bent slightly like someone had pushed him from behind. His breathing went ragged and his skin turned the color of wet cement. "I was joking," he said. It got out of hand. I did not think she would actually do it. The video was still playing. The empty yard. Lily eating cake alone at the table. Conrad finishing his beer on the deck, pulling out his phone, typing something. She was going to do it anyway. She has been acting out. She has behavioral issues. The school called twice last month about her. You do not get to hire your daughter, reward your daughter, and then blame your daughter when the camera catches you. You texted her at 6:14 p.m. that evening, I said, from your phone to her iPad. The message said, "Good job today. You earned it." Vivian screenshotted it before you could delete it. Conrad's mouth opened and closed. His hands went to the porch railing, and he gripped it until his knuckles turned white. That text was about something else. She helped me clean the garage that morning. You bought the iPad on August 30th, 2 days before the party. The Apple Store receipt fell out of the case in my living room. Conrad's grip on the railing loosened. His hands dropped to his sides. He had no more explanations. Every lie had a timestamp waiting behind it. I will buy Ezra a new trampoline. A better one. Double net. Reinforced frame. The 14-foot Pro model. I will set it up myself. You bribed your 10-year-old daughter to sabotage a 7-year-old's birthday party. This was never about the trampoline, Conrad. Then tell me what you want, Rowan. Tell me what it takes. I will write you a check right now. $5,000. Cash, whatever it costs to make this go away. I almost took the check. Not because I wanted the money. Because for 1/2 second, the old pattern in me, the one that keeps the peace and absorbs the blow and smiles at Thanksgiving, almost won. But then I thought about Ezra's face beside the banner, the muddy boot print across the gold letters, the way he held my hand walking to the car without saying a word. And the pattern broke. I stood up. Darcy was standing behind the screen door. She did not come outside. She did not need to. She was listening. You told 12 children's parents that weak kids deserve broken parties. You said I photograph other people's happy moments because I cannot build my own. You said Darcy and I raise our son like he is made of glass. You said those words at his birthday, in his backyard, over his torn banner, while he was crying in front of every friend he had spent 2 months working up the courage to invite. You used your own daughter as a tool and paid her $499 to do it, and then you congratulated her by text message 6 hours later. I almost stopped there. The old version of me would have. But I thought about the 3 years of free photographs, the sessions I shot on weekends when I could have been with Ezra, the images I edited at midnight for a business that was not mine, and I kept going. You are right that I photograph other people's happy moments for a living. I also photograph yours. Every image on your website, your Facebook page, your flyers, and the poster in Dr. Kessler's waiting room belongs to me. I never signed a release. I never transferred copyright. I never granted you a written commercial license. I let you use the images because you were my brother. Falk's cease and desist is in the email I sent this morning. You have 72 hours to remove every image or contact Falk to negotiate a retroactive license. After that, we file copyright claims and send takedown notices to the platforms. You cannot do that. Those photos are my business. Without them, the site is nothing. They are my photographs. I own them. That is not a threat. That is copyright law. The tip-to board is meeting Thursday, I continued. Your flyer is on the school bulletin board. Darcy recused herself. Another parent forwarded the video to the board. 4 members have seen it. All of them are parents. All of them book birthday parties. Conrad stared at me. His lips moved. No words came. You paid your daughter $499 to ruin your nephew's 8th birthday. Every parent in this town books parties with trust. Conrad. Starting with yours. I picked up my laptop. I walked inside. I closed the door. The lock clicked behind me. Conrad stood on my porch for 3 full minutes. I know because the doorbell camera recorded it. He did not knock again. He did not call my name. He walked to his car, sat in the driver's seat with the door open, and lowered his forehead to the steering wheel. He sat there for another full minute before starting the engine and driving away. Here is what happened after. The financial fallout hit within the week. 3 families canceled upcoming bookings with Conrad's party rentals. The first was a mother in Fowlerville who had booked a joint birthday party for her twin daughters, $1,400 for 2 bounce houses and a cotton candy machine. She called Conrad on Tuesday and said she had seen a video that made her uncomfortable and she would be going with another vendor. The second was a church picnic coordinator in Howell, $1,800 for a full setup including an inflatable obstacle course. She sent an email that said, "Only, we have decided to move in a different direction. Please refund our deposit." The third was a neighborhood block party organizer in Brighton, a $1,000 booking that Conrad had bragged about at a family dinner in July. That cancellation came by text message. 3 sentences. No explanation needed. Total lost revenue, $4,200 in 1 week. And those were only the cancellations. The phone stopped ringing entirely for new bookings. Conrad's inquiry form on his website, which usually generated 3 to 5 leads per week during September, produced 0. Conrad's website went blank 9 days after the cease and desist. He removed every photo I had taken over 3 years of free sessions. The site now has a single stock photo of a generic bounce house on a green lawn with no children in it and no shadows. Clearly taken in a studio. The Facebook gallery is empty. The Instagram grid has 6 posts left, all shot on Conrad's phone, all blurry, all without the composition and lighting that made his business look professional. The flyer at Dr. Kessler's office was taken down by the receptionist on Thursday after a parent mentioned the video in the waiting room. The school met the following Thursday. Darcy recused herself from the vote, which I respected. The board voted 4-1 to remove Conrad's party rentals from the approved vendor list. The single dissenting vote came from a member who had not seen the video. She watched it in the parking lot after the meeting and told Darcy she would have voted differently. Vivian stayed at her mother's house for 8 days. On day 6, she called Darcy and asked for the full video, the unedited version from the tripod camera. Darcy sent it. Vivian watched it with her mother. She called Conrad that evening and told him she was not coming home until he completed a parenting evaluation with a family counselor. She told him what Lily had been saying. She asked me if she is a bad person, Vivian told Darcy. She is 10. She asked me if she is a bad person because she made her cousin cry. The question came on a Sunday afternoon. Lily was at Vivian's mother's house, sitting on the back porch swing, and she said it on FaceTime to Vivian while Vivian was driving. "Mom, did I do something bad at Ezra's party?" Vivian pulled over. She did not trust herself to drive and answer that question at the same time. "You did what your dad told you to do," Vivian said. "That is not the same thing as being bad." But Ezra was crying. And all his friends left. And Uncle Rowan looked at me like I broke something that he cannot fix. "You did not break anything, Lily. Your dad broke something. You were just the hand he used." The call lasted another minute. Neither of them spoke for most of it. After they hung up, Vivian sat in her car on the shoulder of M59 for 12 minutes with the engine running and her forehead against the steering wheel. Another hail on a steering wheel, unable to move. I know this because Vivian told Darcy the following week, in our kitchen, over coffee, in a voice so steady and controlled that it sounded like someone reading from a transcript of their own worst day. She said she was not sure if her marriage would survive. She said she was not sure if it should. If this story reminded you that the people who build things and the people who break them are never the same person, share it. This is Family Secret Tales. Late September. The evening light comes in lower now, golden and long, and the shadows from the maple cross the trampoline mat in thin lines. The trampoline has a new safety net. I installed it the previous Saturday. Same brand, same carabiner clips, same elastic straps. Ezra watched from the deck steps while I attached each pole and tested each connection. When I was done, he walked to the edge of the trampoline and touched the net with one finger, pressing it gently, checking. "Is it strong?" he said. "It is strong." He climbed in. He bounced once carefully, testing the springs. Then twice. Then 3 times. Theo was there, standing on the grass with his shoes off, waiting for the signal. Ezra looked at him and nodded. Theo climbed in. They bounced together, not high, not wild, just enough to feel the mat push back and the net hold firm. The birthday banner is on the back fence. I cleaned it the day after the party with a damp cloth and dish soap. The muddy boot print faded, but did not disappear. Ezra's name in gold paint is clear. The E and the Z and the R and the A, all straight, all his. Darcy is on the deck with 2 glasses of lemonade and her phone face down on the armrest of the Adirondack chair. She has not checked it in an hour. Neither have I. The camera on the tripod is still in the corner of the deck where I left it after the party. I have not moved it. I have not deleted the footage. I do not plan to. Ezra lands a bounce, and his arms go wide and he laughs. And the sound crosses the yard and reaches the deck, and settles into the kind of silence that only exists when a day belongs to the people who are in it. The banner holds. The net holds. The evening holds. No one is here who should not be.